married in Detroit, Michigan. It was a wedding. They tell me there were 50 in the wedding party. But this today, and I'm not going to tell you the time, they are having a reception for Crizzo and his lovely bride from Detroit at the state capitol in the Blue Room. Well, speaking of weddings, if you're getting married and you would like for me to tell it, I'd like to tell your friends, and I would like to congratulate you. I just think it's honorable to get married, and it's better to stay married. Congratulations. If you need any help, remember, times are tight now, and your reporter has to go back in the marriage consultant business. And don't complain about my prices. Prices are going up. But I think I should come down, and if any of you need any special consultation, remember, I will do it for $500 an hour. I don't care if you've been married 1 day or 5 months. I will do it. Now, I'm not going to promise you anything except the fact that I am a marriage consultant. It was an evening honoring Nancy Randolph Davis for over 40 years of dedicated service. It was held last night at the Metro Tech Business Conference Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. They came from all over this nation to say thanks to a young lady that really deserves it. And I better take this opportunity to say thanks to all of you. Last week I dedicated my program to Nancy Davis, and you responded like no audience has ever responded. But for those of you that could not attend this last night, it was a very beautiful affair. And there were people that talked about Nancy Davis. A brother, Carl D. Randolph Sr., who's the owner of the Randolph's Plumbing Company in Kansas City, Kansas, gave the audience the background of the Randolph family. Dr. Freddie Cudjoe, with her melodious voice, used it in the same way that she did 37 years ago when Nancy Randolph and Fred Davis were married. Her words were soft and tender. Attorney Donald Davis related events in Sapulpa, Oklahoma. And Sapulpa, Oklahoma took the stage last night as Attorney Davis and others bragged about Sapulpa. Dr. Jones represented Langston University with a passion that was real. Dr. Willa R. Combs from Oklahoma State University talked about the days, by our days as classmates at Langston University. Mrs. Letty Ruth Hunter presented an award, a beautiful plaque on behalf of the Langston University's Home Economics Alumni Association. For years, ever since the founding of that organization, Nancy Davis has been the president. And if I know Nancy well, she will continue to serve Langston University in any capacity. Mrs. Marilyn Dawson, a graduate of Oklahoma State University, thanked Nancy because Nancy Randolph Davis was the first black to attend Oklahoma State University. And that was a warm presentation on behalf of the Oklahoma State University's administration, faculty, staff, and student body. Dr. Harry Birdwell, Vice President of University Relations, presented to Nancy Davis the highlights of Oklahoma State University's history. And Mr. Fred R. Factory, the former principal of Dungy High School, related to the audience Nancy Davis's experience as a teacher at Dungy High School. It was very touching as Prince Anderson, a former student of Nancy Davis, explained to the audience what Nancy Davis's teaching had meant to her. And Reverend W.B. Parker, the loving St. James Baptist Church's pastor, spoke, and he said to the audience, "I'm going to show you what it means to speak for 2 minutes." This he did. Joyce Kimbrough, a social worker, a former student, spoke about how Nancy Davis continues to keep the Dungy family alive. When anything happens in the family, one thing about it, everybody will know about it because Nancy Davis will let you know. Dr. James Robinson spoke about his experiences as Nancy Davis's principal. He left the door open at Star Spencer High School, where he said Nancy was always welcome, and not only that, he wants her on the substitute list. "We Love Mrs. Davis" came from a young man who's the president of the Star Spencer High School FHA Hero Chapter, Carlos Howard. And then the president, Mrs. Andre Hanley, spoke how Nancy Davis was able to encourage and support young people. In fact, she went up to substitute for a few minutes, and she has been president of the organization for 14 years. One of the most touching presentations was made by a former student of Nancy Davis, who is now a doctor, Dr. David Linden. So humble, so kind, and so grateful. He stated that Nancy Davis has always been there for me as a neighbor and a friend. She has encouraged me, and I'm very grateful. What kind words. Then Reverend H.A. Walker, the pastor emeritus of the True Vine Independent Baptist Church, spoke affectionately of Nancy Davis and her work in the church. Mrs. Helen Johnson spoke on behalf of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, speaking about Nancy Davis and having all of the AKAs that were present to stand. Marilyn Hildred talked about Nancy Davis and the role that she played in the sit-in movement. Marilyn walked down the streets of the past and brought the reality of the sit-in movement to all. Lynzetta Carter, the president of the Amigas Club, explained to the audience the sisterly atmosphere and the sisterly action of Nancy Davis. And then from the Plant and Garden Club of Spencer's outreach to the community, Mrs. E.F. Williams talked about Nancy in that area. Nancy, a dear friend and neighbor, cried out, for cries came from Mrs. Minerva Sloss. What a friend and a neighbor meant. And then there were presentations. Pat Robinson presented a citation on behalf of the governor of the state of Oklahoma, Governor David Walters. Thelma Parks made a presentation as president of the Board of Education of the Oklahoma City School System. Mrs. Susan Johnson spoke on behalf of the vocational supervisors of home economics and business education. State Representative Kevin Cox made a presentation on behalf of the Black Caucus. Mrs. Shirley Washington Reed spoke on behalf of the Urban League of the Oklahoma City. And then with love, tenderness, and heart-warm thanks, there were warm wishes for a mother. And then Mr. Fred C. Davis said words that had not been stated before to his lovely wife. He stated to her, I love you. I love you. I love you. And then Nancy stood in front of the audience and expressed her appreciation and her gratitude to all because they represented a cross-section of America. The MCs for the evening cannot be overlooked. The first one was Mrs. Wanda F. Johnson, who had the opportunity to introduce the platform guest, the Mistress and the Masters of Ceremony. The Mistress of Ceremony was the Honorable Nancy L. Davis, an attorney. The Masters of Ceremony was Calvin Davis from Los Angeles, California, 2 attorneys. And as I looked at those 2 young people, I understood what education was all about. Because the Davises had worked hard and they had sent their two lovely children to the universities and then on to law school. And they had come home and served as the coordinators of the Lady Ruth Nancy Davis's dinner. Lady Ruth Hunter spoke so affectionately of her experiences with Nancy Davis. And then the curtain went down on a teaching career of a young lady who has not only taught her children, Calvin and Nancy, but has taught and affected the lives of young people all over this state. In a few minutes, I will ask you, the radio audience, to call me because I want your thinking on a very controversial issue. The issue concerns pastors' anniversaries, especially in the Oklahoma County area. How do you feel about it? Last week, the National Association of Black Social Workers had a banquet. And at that time, E. Melvin Porter, a former senator, a civil rights leader who was responsible for removing the legal barriers of segregation by introducing an anti-discrimination board in the Senate. This anti-segregation bill became law, erasing all of the segregation laws, including the right for one race to marry into another race, including the elimination of segregation, and a man who has suffered great pain in this community. He spoke about the problems of black people in Oklahoma City. And he stated that there was a lack of leadership from many of the ministers in Oklahoma City. He stated that the pastors' anniversaries seemed to be the top priorities. So planned that the anniversaries take the front row from every other issue. The question was, who really benefits from a pastor's anniversary? As he spoke, the audience responded. And it was interesting. The people were talking about this speech that Senator Porter had made. How do you feel about it? What is the feelings of this community? Are the anniversaries necessary? Senator Porter stated that there are many ministers that have anniversaries and their church members are very poor, yet they ride up in their Mercedes and other big automobiles and talk about hard times. How do you feel about it? I want you to call me at 672-1220 and let me know. There are some questions that were asked. How many of you know people that were saved during an anniversary? And by that I mean how many came to Jesus as a result of the anniversaries. The next question, where in the Bible, and Senator Porter stated that he was a scholar, he had read the Bible, and he has stated, but where in the Bible can you find justifications for a pastor's anniversary? And I know you will call me out in Radio Land and give me the scripture in order that those of you that are listening, all 600,000 of you will know the answer. You have a right to know. And be sure and call me and let me know exactly how you feel. This program today is a very special program. It's a very special program because it's June and it's time to think about marriage. And if you think about marriage, why don't you do like some of the people that I've just told you about? They are going to get married. And there are plenty of people that need to be married. Don't you know two can make it cheaper than one? Don't you know if you live in a house, it's better to have two people helping to pay the bills than to be there by yourself? I don't know the answer. Rest with you. This is the Clara Luper radio show. This is the show that you have been waiting for. And this part of the show is being brought to you by Miss Black, Oklahoma. Miss Black, Oklahoma will be on June the 15th at the beautiful great hall of the Myriad Convention Center. You are invited. Now I'm going to tell you something, and I want you to listen very carefully, because if you don't get your tickets this week, you're not going to be able to see one of the top pageants in this nation. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you, because I have not called one of you and you've told me that you did not want to be a part of Miss Black Oklahoma. You have told me that. You are a part of it, and I really appreciate it. And today, before we get started on our telephone, I want to tell you that from Southwestern Oklahoma State University, Office of the President, I have a letter from Dr. Joanna Hibbler, who says that we are pleased to have the opportunity to support you, Clara, with the Miss Black Oklahoma pageant. We are offering the winner an institutional scholarship for the 1991-1992 school year. This letter is from the Oklahoma City Community College. Miss Luper, I certainly respect the ideas of the pageant, and I am aware of the positive experiences that it provides for many young ladies. From Dr. Gary Walker at Rose State University, on behalf of Rose State College, I'm sorry, it's a college and not a university, I am pleased to announce that Rose State College will provide 3 scholarships to 3 contestants of the Miss Black Oklahoma pageant to be held on June the 15th. I would like to also read this from OG&E. Congratulations on the 1991 Miss Black Oklahoma pageant. As you know, the Oklahoma Gas and Electric Company has been a proud sponsor of the pageant for more than 20 years, as we look forward to continuing our scholarship program. Because of our lengthy association, I am able to speak with confidence of how the pageant is conducted. Your participants are not only beautiful, but they have that excellent personality, that excellent character, and also the use of your pages and escorts is unique and highly effective. The present plans of OG&E are to continue the support, and we encourage other organizations to consider supporting this outstanding event. As you know, OG&E has reserved 100 seats at the 1991 pageant. From Carl Abbott State College, we will offer $450 tuition scholarship to the winner and a $250 tuition scholarship to the first runner-up. And if they do not want to come to Carl Abbott, we will supply to any of the contestants. From Dr. Bill J. Lillard, President of Central State University. Central State University will be honored to award a 1-year tuition scholarship to the winner of the 1991 Miss Black Oklahoma pageant. From Phillips University, and this comes from the Associate Vice President, Dr. David Von Skiel. Phillips University is pleased to support the 1991 Miss Black Oklahoma pageant. We are offering the first place scholarship, $2,000, the second place scholarship, $1,500, and the third place scholarship, $1,000. From Langston University, from Dr. Ernest L. Holloway. We would like to congratulate you on your 22nd annual Miss Black Oklahoma. We are happy to announce that the winner will be awarded a $900 tuition scholarship for Langston University. The first, second, and third runner-ups will be awarded a $250 tuition scholarship per semester at Langston University. Sincerely, Dr. President, he doesn't say Dr. President Ernest L. Holloway. From Phillips Petroleum Company, we are happy to announce the fact that we will, as we have done for the past 21 years, give a $1,000 scholarship to the winner of Miss Black Oklahoma. Now, as we read that, I know you're wondering who will be the ones. And we are very happy. We are very happy that we will be able, after our funeral and death announcements, to give you the information concerning the pageant. Remember, at 9:30, you can start calling me and let me know how you feel about anniversaries. We are ready now for our funeral and death announcements. And here's Onita. Okay, are we coming through okay? Okay, we are having just a little problem, and we want you to hold it. We are having a little problem, but that problem can be solved because we do have some professionals here, and everything will be all right. Everything will be all right. We will be back with Onita. In the meantime, you will have the opportunity
June the 15th,
to
1991 at 7:30 p.m. the Great Hall, Mirror Convention Center, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
You will meet and greet Miss Black America, Rosie Jones of Bridgeport, Connecticut. Miss Black Oklahoma, Melanie Bratchard of Langston University. The 1991 pages, escorts, and parents. You will also meet the 1991 Miss Black Oklahoma contestants.
You'll see one of the 23 who will be crowned Miss Black Oklahoma and will represent the state of Oklahoma at the Miss Black America pageant in Indianapolis, Indiana in July. Tickets for Miss Black Oklahoma are on sale right now by the contestants.
And Gates Barbershop, 2609 North Martin Luther King.
Eugene Hair Connection, 1907 North Classen.
And the Freedom Center, 2609 North Martin Luther King.
Or call Clara Luper at 1-405-424-3949.
All seats are reserved, tickets $20 each and semi-formal. The pageant will be televised by Channel 19 Cox Cable.
See you there.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Clara Luper radio show. For a minute, we had some technical difficulties, but we are working to correct it here at our radio station. In the meantime, I want you to be prepared to call me, 672-1220. All-American Carpet Cleaning Service, located at 121 Northeast at 52nd Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. 2 rooms for $29.95. 3 rooms will be cleaned for $39.95. And 4 rooms for only $49.95. They will also dry clean sofas and chairs, and they will steam your clean sofa and chair. That's at 121 Northeast of 51st Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Happy wedding to all of you that are getting married in the good old month of June. Well, we are working because I want to hear from you, the public. I want to know what you think. Now, we have been talking about the Miss Black Oklahoma. I would like to just talk about some of the judges and some of the speakers for Miss Black Oklahoma 1971. Because I want you to understand the depth of the pageant. I want you to understand the kind of people that make up the pageant. And certainly we will be saluting our staff. And on Wednesday night, the staff, some of the contestants will meet in the home of Mr. and Mrs. Williams. And there they will talk about the 1991 Miss Black Oklahoma pageant. Who are the judges of the pageant? Where do they come from? How do you select judges? Now, in the Miss Black Oklahoma, you cannot pay the expenses of judges. You cannot pay the hotel for judges. And the judges that come to Oklahoma City are people that are dedicated to young people. One judge The Honorable Dr. Clifton M. Martin, Jr. of Waco, Texas, is an outstanding dentist. A doctor that has participated in research programs at the Oregon National Laboratory in Oregon, Illinois. A doctor that has participated and that has received honors from Tulane Medical School in New Orleans, Louisiana. A board member of the Central Sickle Cell Anemia Association and other organizations, who in 1987 was declared to be the outstanding young man of America, who has written articles that have been published in national dental magazines. Dr. Clifton M. Martin from Waco, Texas, and who has worked and is a professional in certain areas. Who are the judges? What are their qualifications? Attorney Louis Barber Jr. from Putnam City. There are many things that you know about Attorney Barber. You know he's an outstanding Kappa. You know that he's a lawyer. But did you know that he has served and he has spoken for the Human Rights Commission of Tulsa? Did you know that he has been involved in drafting contracts and counseling on purchases of aircrafts, from single engine to multi-engine aircrafts, including 707, 737, 100 through 400 series? Did you know that he has served not only as an attorney in Oklahoma, but throughout the country? Did you know he has served and he has presented case at the United States Supreme Court? Did you know that? Did you know that he has investments not only in the United States, but he has been noted as a troubleshooter for the Atlantic Richfield Oil Company, and has participated in a $200 million offshore leasing transaction for Atlantic Richfield Oil Company. I have only talked about two of our judges, but let me tell you about the others. Mr. W. Harris, a very successful businessman from the Bronx in New York, will be one of the judges. Maurice Carter, an outstanding businessman from Kansas City, Missouri, one of the judges. Mrs. Geraldine Downey of Oklahoma City, well-trained, poised, a judge. Mrs. Carolyn Embry from Muskogee, Oklahoma, well-known all over the state, a judge. From Francis Tuttle will come Jan Patlick, a judge. Well, that's just part of the judges. I will tell you about the other judges on next week. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and we're still working out here to get the telephone all ready because I want to hear your opinion. Well, maybe something has happened. Maybe we aren't supposed to talk about this controversial subject. Well, nobody else will touch it. We will touch it. Let's talk about some of the speakers for the Miss Black Oklahoma contest. One of our speakers will be the Honorable Henry Roth Jr. This will be the 10th year that Henry Roth Jr. has spoken at the opening breakfast for the Miss Black Oklahoma pageant. Let's talk about Cynthia Gunn. An article recently appeared about Cynthia. It says that Cynthia is a nice person. Everyone who meets her thinks so. But what they don't know is why she's so nice. She was voted Miss Niceville High while going to school in Niceville, Florida. She's a new addition to TV9's news staff, joining the staff in November as a reporter. Many of you saw her on KFOR TV, but then she moved to TV9. She stated that this is the best career that I've ever had. I am committed, and I'm really happy to be here. And you can see her on weekends as the anchor person on Channel 9. Let's talk about Nyla Phillips, who will be one of the speakers. Nyla is well known, becoming the first of her race to establish a beauty school in Oklahoma City. Let's talk about Dr. Joanna Hibbler from Weatherford, Oklahoma, who will speak at a luncheon. And the luncheons, there will be a luncheon each day for the young ladies, a breakfast, a reception, and at this reception, you the people will have that opportunity. Now I've just gotten word that we have a switch has been blown out here, so there will be no telephone calls. A switch. Well, maybe the Lord didn't want us to talk about the anniversaries, but those of you that would like to talk, you can certainly call Calvin and some of the others out here, and they will say what you want to say, and I will repeat it, and I will give you this chance again, because if one switch went off, we should be able to get another switch. And I know some of you out there are really happy because you asked me not to talk about the preachers. I'm not talking about the preachers. I just ask a question, and whatever you do for your preacher, that's your business. I feel that the people need to know what you think. Well, if you call, now you may call 672-1220, and we will relay the message. We have 4 people standing here ready to help. 4 people out here ready to help with all of your answers. Well, we might perform a miracle. Maybe we'll get to come back on. I don't know. I have good news. We are back on 672-1220, so maybe it's the Lord's will that we talk. Everything is all right? Give me the go-ahead signal, and I will allow people to call me 672-1220 and tell me exactly what you think about anniversaries. Don't worry about what I think, because what I think is that I think it's time for you to let people know exactly where you stand. Do you believe in them? Do you agree with Senator Porter? Or do you have some other concerns? Today's program is being brought to you by your favorite barber, Robert Gates of the Gates Barbershop. The Gates Barbershop, ready to serve you. The business to make people beautiful. Robert L. Gates not only invites you, but invites you to tell a friend. The hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The address is 2609 North Martin Luther King Boulevard in Oklahoma City. Gates Barbershop, Mr. Robert L. Gates will give you a traditional haircut or a designer's one. It doesn't make any difference. All you have to do is go to the barbershop. Don't take my word for it. You go there and see for yourself. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show, and hello?
Hello.
Yes?
I was calling on the pastor's anniversaries. You know, I think that it's fine to appreciate your pastor, but I think that the black pastor...
Will you talk out just a little louder for me, please?
But I think that the black pastors here in Oklahoma City are taking it out of context. I mean, you know, they're just going on and on about pastors' anniversaries. What about people that need help? The black community is in trouble. No.
You don't think that you are saying that the black community is in trouble, and you think, you say it over so I can understand clearly. You know, I'm from Hoffman, Oklahoma, and I told those people that were talking about Sapulpa last night that I brought greetings from Hoffman. All right, now tell me again so that my public can understand.
What I'm saying is it seems like in the black churches is that we're basing past anniversary above everything else. What about saving souls?
Well, don't you think souls can be saved through anniversaries?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, it's like a money thing. It's like they're in competition. If this pastor gets 2,000, and of course this other pastor wants 5,000.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you for giving us your opinion. Now, don't you just sit there. You call and give us your opinion. This is the Clara Luper Show, and it's free for all. Hello?
Miss Luper.
Yes.
The Bible said if a man don't work, he don't eat. And it's wrong for us to take care of the preacher, and he can sit, and I have been there, in a congregation where his members, some of the children don't have shoes, lights and gas is turned off, you go to him for an offering to help, he'll say go to the welfare department. The Bible says if you see your brother or sister destitute and in need, and you close your bowels of compassion against them, how dwelleth the love of God in you? So we need to learn, the preacher needs to learn how to love and get his hand out of everybody else's pocket, be willing to help, go pray for people, do what God say do.
Okay, well, thank you so very kindly. The opinions that are being expressed here are not the opinions of this radio station. It's the opinion of you, the people, and what you think. This is a Clara Luper, and this is a hot one. This is a controversial issue. Do you believe in pastor's anniversary? And Calvin, do we have someone else? You better call us and get your opinion in.
Well,
because yes,
the lines are very hot now, and this phone number out here is 672-1220. We invite the people to call, and yes, I do have an opinion, but as usual, I better wait till last. But some of the people have been very, very vehement and very, very definite in their feelings that they've expressed to me, and that's why I'm glad that we got the lines working, and so we can go straight to this next call.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, I'm an ex-minister's wife, and I don't agree that every pastor should have a anniversary, but I think they should work, because when I was a minister's wife, my husband did not work, and we were poor and we starved to death, me and my child, and I think all ministers should work until the church can't afford to pay for them. But otherwise, as far as the anniversary, that if the people want to do it, well, that's them. But that's the way I feel.
Now, you're an ex-pastor's wife?
Yes.
Does that mean that you lost your husband through death?
No. We divorced, and because of a lot of stuff like this is happening in the churches, and I just don't agree with it, and he never would get a job, and I said, forget it, that you want the people to take care of him. Exactly the words he said. I say, the people have got jobs, and you need a job. So that's the way I feel about it.
Well, I really appreciate that. That's a different view that we have not thought about. Well, a preacher has a job. He's pastoring a church. He has to preach on Sundays. He has to go to prayer meeting on Wednesday, teachers meeting on Monday. He has to visit the sick and married people. Don't you think that's a job?
Yeah, but he still needs a job to take care of his family, because the Bible said you take care of your family and then you take care of the church. But Jesus, he was a carpenter. He worked. Why can't the preachers work?
Okay. Well, that's your opinion, and certainly it's not the opinion of this radio station, and I want to make that clear. Thank you for calling, and I want to hear from you. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show. Hello?
Hello. I'd like to tell you my statement.
Yes.
1 Timothy 5:17 says, pastors who do their work well shall be paid well and shall be highly appreciated, especially those who work hard and at both preaching and teaching. And fourth, faithful servant. For example, just like a job, if you are faithful in your job for so many years, you receive a pen or what have you. A pastor that is faithful, what better way to appreciate him than give him an anniversary?
Oh, well, I really appreciate your saying that, because I taught for 42 years, and I'm waiting for my anniversary. I got my pen, but I didn't get any cash with it. Maybe we should give an anniversary for teachers. Oh, I just threw that in because I appreciate your opinion. Now, what do you call work as far as a preacher is concerned? Hello? What do you call work? Let's take Monday. What would you call a preacher working on Monday? What does he do?
Go to the prison.
Okay, he goes to the prison on Monday. Okay, let's take Tuesday.
Go to the hospital.
All day?
All day.
On Wednesdays?
Prayer meeting.
Huh?
Prayer meeting.
Oh, that's all day?
I'd say half a day.
Okay, half a day's prayer meet. Okay, let's go to Thursday.
Counsel with the family.
Counseling families. Working families?
Yes, working families.
Okay, will you turn your radio down so we can get you clear out here? Okay, where are we now? At Friday? What happens on Friday?
Just rest and pray.
Okay, on Saturdays?
Witness.
What?
Witness.
Witness. All day?
all day.
And then on Sundays?
Go to church and praise the Lord.
Okay, then thank you for your opinion. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show, and this show today is being made possible by your Allstate Insurance agent. Well, somebody say that they think deacons should have anniversaries, but that would be a good one. I can see all them deacons standing up. Certainly, we're trying. This is Clara Luper, and hello. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Mrs. Luper?
Yes.
I'm calling to talk to you about the pastor's anniversaries.
Yes.
I'm in total agreement that we should have pastor's anniversaries. And I'll tell you the reason why. The main reason is we do not pay our pastors enough money in the first place. And the pastor's anniversary is just a small supplement to supplement his income, to help his family and himself survive. We want our pastors to come to our aids at 12 o'clock at night. There's no bonus for that. We want our pastors to come to the jail to help our children out. We want our pastors to do everything out of the call of duty. But we don't want to give him any extra pay. We as black people can't afford to give him the kind of money he needs to survive. So we have anniversaries to show our appreciation for the extra time that he spends away from his wife and his children and his family. And anniversaries are necessary just to help him make it just a little better. We want our pastors to look good. We want our pastors to be able to preach every funeral. I don't care if the members belong to our churches or not. But we want our pastor to be there to preach the funeral. We want to take up all his time. We want to do all these extra things, but give him no money.
Okay, then you're in favor of pastors' anniversaries, and you want your pastors to look good.
No, it's not necessary to look good. I don't want to come to church every Sunday morning and my pastor has on the same suit. His wife never is able to change clothes. I don't want him to live on $10,000 a year, and I live on $50,000 a year.
But then when you say $50,000 a year, you must remember there are only a few blacks in Oklahoma City that make $50,000 a year.
Well, I haven't been here in Oklahoma City that long. But the shortest time I've been here, I know they've given our pastor $3,000 for his anniversary. But in terms of...
You pay him by the week?
We pay him by the week.
And you pay his expenses his housing, his utilities, telephone, all?
Yes.
Okay, and then you gave him $3,000. But I'm telling you, I think that's commendable. I'm not...
Listen, I'm going to give you an example.
Okay, give me an example.
I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. And last year we gave our pastor $20,000 for his anniversary. And he was one of the lowest people in the city to get that kind of money.
$20,000 for his...
$20,000 is what we raised for his anniversary.
About how much did you pay him a week?
$250 a week.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you so very kindly. And I know that's good news to Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City is behind. We're talking about giving ministers $3,000 a year. That's no money.
Okay, honey, that's no money. But I know a lot of people like to get a gift of $3,000. Thank you. Let me get these lines. Okay. Clara Luper, let me hear from you.
Good morning, Mrs. Luper.
Good morning.
The young man that called and was giving out the dates, when you asked him about the dates, I agree with some of them. Okay, he didn't say anything about visiting the home, the sick. And the reason why I'm saying this, I have a husband. His kidneys is failing. He's a brittle diabetic. He's, you name it, and he is it. Every minister, I'm not going to say every, most ministers from other churches have come to visit my husband. My pastor has never, Neber capital, visit my husband. Never.
Okay, you think he deserves an anniversary?
Probably. That's up to the people.
It's up to the people. Do you support anniversaries?
If it's done, yes, I will.
Okay, you will give some money to your pastor, even though he has not visited your husband.
Yes, I will, because I'm griping about that. But see, when he goes to wherever he goes, he has to answer. You know what I'm saying? Like if I go to heaven or hell, I have to answer. So he will have to answer for that.
Okay, well, thank you so very kindly, and thank you for calling. And if you call and line's busy, keep trying, because we are doing the best we can out here.
Your program.
Well, thank you.
Bye.
Clara Luper, and how are you today?
Good morning, Clara Luper. This is Ruth Murphy.
Yes.
I'm calling about the anniversary situation. I think some pastors are deserving for appreciation and some are not. Now, my pastor...
Turn your radio down for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, let me turn my radio down.
Okay.
Okay. I think some are deserving and some are not deserving for appreciation. When you put money in front of saving souls, well, you're in trouble. My pastor works, although he's salaried, and we do give him a appreciation.
He works?
Oh, yes, he has a job.
About how much money do you give your pastor for anniversaries? This lady from Kansas City said Oklahoma City was behind.
Well, I think she's wrong about that. We don't give very much because we don't have very much.
That's your good reason for not giving very much. Sure can't give it unless you have it. Thank you for calling me.
But he's deserving.
This is a hot one. It's too hot to handle, but I'm going to handle it anyway. Here we are. Be sure and turn your radio down. This is Clara Luper.
Good morning, Miss Luper. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm fine this morning.
I know you are. I just like to make a couple of statements concerning the pastor's appreciation. A pastor is worthy of his hire. And God has told us to appreciate our pastors. Our pastor is one that not to go and visit the home. Our pastor is one that pastors. He watches over a flock of people. He nourished them. He helped them to grow spiritually and mature. Our pastor is one that visits the sick when he can. He's not supposed to work. If we go back to the book of Leviticus, we're supposed to take care of our pastors. We're supposed to make sure they are paid. We're supposed to make sure that utility things and homes and things are kept up. We the people are supposed to do that. If you are in a church and you do not like what's going on, get out of it. If you don't want to be a part of the pastor's appreciation, don't be a part of it. But don't put a pastor down. We need to get up off of our pastors and let our pastors know that we love them. And that's all I have to say about it.
Okay, we aren't putting our pastors down, and certainly the people that are speaking are expressing their opinions. Senator Porter says, and I want somebody to call me and give me some scriptures so I can take it back to Senator Porter and others concerning anniversaries. Now, I want it to come directly from the Bible. Now, Senator Porter said that many of our preachers are riding around in Mercedes and Cadillacs and Lincoln, and Jesus rode into the city on a jackass. That's what Senator Porter said. Now, I don't know what you think. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show, and certainly when you start thinking about insurance, be sure and remember Marilyn Hildred. Now, we want you to advertise those of you that would like to give special scholarships to young people. You have the opportunity, because there are many young people that cannot go to school without your support. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show. Hello? I'm surprised that the ministers aren't calling. I know if I were a minister, I'd sure call and I'd explain to the people why they should give anniversaries. Hello?
Yes, Clara Luper?
Yes.
I think personally, if people in the church...
Will you talk up just a bit?
If the members in the church would get busy, stand beside their pastor, and help them, they expect too much of the pastor and have no complaints. If they would just work with the pastor, go out with him, do the ministry, they wouldn't have no complaint. But see, as long as a person set up and complain about what's going on, that's all they'll ever do. But I feel like should start standing beside their pastor, not put them down, because it's a blessed thing to stand beside your pastor. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Stand beside your pastor, the young lady says. Stand beside Leon Smicklers, located at Northwest 52nd and North May Avenue in Oklahoma City. You can call Leon C. Hicks. 721. We want your opinions, and certainly you have a right to your opinion. This is a hot one. Maybe it's too hot to handle. We've had interruptions, but everything is going to be all right because you have your opinion. The opinions that are expressed here today are the opinions of those of you that are calling in and not the opinions of this particular station. This is Clara Luper.
Hello, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Yeah, I'm very proud to talk to you.
Yes.
Look, I wanted to base my opinion on the ministers. I feel that we have a lot of ministers in this country. A lot of ministers are not doing what they're supposed to do to help the people themselves as far as economically. There's a lot of money that's being passed to these ministers. But for these ministers to get these young people employment and jobs and stuff like that, a lot of ministers are not contributing. They more or less have their hands out. And I think that's very wrong, and I don't think that's godly. So as far as the anniversary day, that's fine if that minister works very hard for the people, because that's what he's there for the people, not for his own personal prosperity.
Okay, I have time for one last call. Hello?
Mrs. Luper?
Yes?
I'm U.S. Johnson, and I'd like to make a comment regarding the pastor's appreciations.
Make it quick.
Okay, first of all, you wanted a scripture. The Bible doesn't specifically quote you this verbatim, but it's exactly what you're speaking of in John 12. Mary, she anointed Jesus' feet with this very expensive oil. This was an appreciation for what he had done for her brother. This oil cost equivalent to a year's salary. And yes, we should give a pastor appreciation services. Regarding the comment...
Okay, I'm sorry, but we've got to get in our funeral and death announcements, and here's Calvin.
Okay.
Raw Funeral Home announces the services of Wanda Stoner Wednesday at 11 a.m. Temple Funeral Home announces the services of Mr. Derek Sandy of 2041 Northeast 26th Street. Services will be held in the chapel on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Temple also announces the services of Blonzine Bogus, 4241 Northeast 20, services pending. We got a call from Mrs. Hunter who had heard from Marshall, Texas, and that was that Ann Monroe, the former organist at the First AME and the Greater Cleves Memorial Church, Palace, services are pending. To all of the families from the Clara Luper radio show and the radio station, we'd like to extend sympathy and condolences and to remind you to look to the hills from which forth comes your strength.
Someone has called and wanted to know how was I circulating a petition on behalf of the Owens case. I'm not circulating a petition. The NACP Youth Council is not in favor of a petition. Rather, we are in favor of doing it like NACP people are doing it all over the country, where we are going through legal means and other means. Now, if you want to know why, don't call me, ask Roosevelt Milton, and let him tell you what we will gain. Well, next week is going to be Father's Day, and we will have a hot one next week. What's wrong with the fathers? What's right about the fathers? You will have the opportunity to express your view on fathers. Who are the fathers? What are they doing? Are they worthwhile? Are they sorry? You will let us know on the Clara Luper radio show next Sunday. I would like to express my views as we come to the end of this program. I would like to tell those of you that would like to give your pastor's anniversary, you can give them $100,000. It's all right with me. Those of you that don't want to give them anything, give them nothing. It's all right with me. If you notice, it's left entirely to you, because I would like to see an anniversary not only for the pastors, but for the deacons, for the missionary society, and for all. And speaking of anniversaries, I want you to know that I love you wherever you are. And this has been, for the past hour, the Clara Luper radio show. And if any of the contestants in Miss Black, Oklahoma should ask you to buy an ad or a ticket, do it this week. Clara Luper saying, I do love you. Bye-bye.
The spiritual soul of Oklahoma is